morning and thank you for joining us for our Wednesday's edition of Press Review right here on Luntha TV. Today being the 6th of September in the year 2023. It is yet another time where we take you through some of the stories that are appearing in our newspapers. And today with me, Tandi Wemzumara and my colleague,
Jacqueline Saidi.
Alright, so I will be taking you through the Daily Times and I will start on the front page. A headline here reads, IMF hails Chakwera on tough decisions. And part of the story reads that the International Monetary Fund, IMF First Deputy Managing Director Gita Gopinath has held President Lazarus Chakwera for the tough decisions he has taken to shore up the economy, raising hopes among Malawians that the country may soon get the much-needed Extended Credit Facility ECF program. The IMF second in command told the Daily Times at Kamuzu Palace in Lilongwe, where she engaged Chakwera yesterday, that the fund is beginning to see progress and results from the decisions that Chakwera has made.
On the front page of The Nation, there's a similar story. IMF provides guarded review, and the story has a headline, Deputy Chief urges fiscal discipline, governance and reforms. And there's another story, needy university students dealt blow. And part of the story, children from poor backgrounds in the country teetering on the brink of failing to pursue university education after government has refused to facilitate the downward revision of fees. The institutions hiked this year. In July, the country's 6 public universities announced their revised fees. University of Malawi Unima proposed a fee hike over 800,000, but the Ministry of Education approved 650,000. The Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences proposed 1.5 million, but 750,000 was approved. Mzuzu University proposed 700, but 650 was approved.
Right, still on the front page, a headline here reads, CSOs fought ACB on State House Chief, and the main story is on page 3, and part of it reads that the Anti-Corruption Bureau, ACB, has indicated that it has insufficient evidence to prosecute State House Chief of State Residences, Prince Kabunda Mgaga, who reached a restitution agreement with the Bureau and consequently had his case dropped. Initially, ACB investigations established that Kabunda Mgaga was one of the public officers who had allegedly received a Mercedes-Benz S-Class 350D and other gifts from Zuneth Zatar, who, according to the Bureau, may face corruption charges in Malawi. It indicates that Kabunda Mgaga received about 70.1 million kwacha from Zatar, money he allegedly agreed to pay back by September 30th, 2023.
On the third page, girls school dropout worried government. Deputy Minister of Education, Nancy Chaula Ndogo, has said government is constructing boarding hostels for girls in the country's various secondary schools to keep girls in school. She said this in Leeds on Monday after touring projects at Zenza Community Day Secondary School and Lintipe Secondary School, where government is constructing a school block and girls' hostels respectively. The Deputy Minister expressed worry over an increased rate of school dropouts among girls in the area, calling on chiefs to institute bylaws against child marriages.
Okay, you have any more locals before moving to business?
No, I think we can move to the business.
Okay, moving on to business, the headline here reads, you say the deputy chief to visit Malawi to discuss economy. And part of the story reads that the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, deputy Administrator Isobel Coleman is expected to visit Malawi on Friday. The United States Embassy has said. The embassy stated in a statement released yesterday that Coleman will meet with a range of partners and stakeholders to gain a deeper understanding of the macroeconomic challenges and economic policies affecting Malawians.
IMF laments impacts of climate change, says it affects GDP growth, development prospects. The International Monetary Fund has warned that the negative impact of climate change could affect Malawi's growth prospects, gross domestic product per capita, and worsen the country's development challenges. In a paper published on IMF website titled climate challenges in fragile and conflict-affected areas. The global Luntha says the persistent changes in climate change have long-term negative effects on the country's economic growth. As such, there is need for authorities to introduce measures to mitigate the impacts.
All right, another story here. Headline reads, bank loans get more expensive. And part of the story reads that consumers accessing loans from financial service institutions will continue to dig deeper into their pockets to service their loans as commercial banks continue to adjust upwards their reference rate, a benchmark for other rates, including interest rate. According to communication from the banks published in the local press, starting from yesterday, the rate has moved up to 23.4% from 22.7% in the preceding month.
Firm engages CFTC on bottled water determination. ZAM Investments, manufacturers of Kujok bottled water, has petitioned the Competition and Fair Trading Commission CFTC to seek clarification on the determination the Commission made last week. In the determination, CFTC recommended that some investments should be prosecuted for allegedly selling water that was not safe for consumption. The water in question was part of a batch that the firm sold earlier this year. The ZAM Investments Managing Director Mohammad Tutla said in a statement that his company has been treated unfairly because it cooperated with CFTC and withdrew all the water which contained the debris.
Okay, moving on to international news. A headline here reads Kim Jong-un to visit Putin for weapons talks. And part of the story reads that North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un plans to travel to Russia this month to meet President Vladimir Putin, a United States official has told the BBC's US partner CBS. The two leaders will discuss the possibility of North Korea providing Moscow with weapons to support its war in Ukraine. That is according to the official, and the exact location of the planned meeting is not clear.
African countries differ on continent's climate plans. Part of the story, some African leaders and campaigners are said to be at odds over the way forward for the continent's climate priorities as the first African Climate Summit enters its third day today in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. The first day of the conference on Monday, according to Britain's The Guardian newspaper, centered around green growth and climate finance and generated discussions on whether Africa can skip the traditional high carbon pathways taken by industrialized countries.
You have any more before moving to entertainment news?
No.
Okay, on arts and culture, I'll take one. A headline here reads Maso Awards 5th edition goes to Lilongwe. And part of the story reads that organizers of Maso Awards have announced that they will hold the 5th edition in Lilongwe on November 25th, 2023 at Bingo International Convention Center. Maso Awards Executive Director Augustine Mukisi said yesterday that they will be rotating the red carpet event, hence taking it to the capital city from Blantyre this time.
Lulu to perform in Uganda. Musician Lulu left yesterday for Uganda, where he is scheduled to perform at the Kampala Serena on Friday. In an interview prior to his departure, the musician said he was going to perform at the Maurice Curie live concert after receiving an invitation. The musician said he was not going to Uganda to perform for Malawians living in that country, but to perform for music lovers in general.
Okay, now moving on to the back page of local sports. A headline here reads Money Spinner. The subheadline reads Flames replica jerseys generate 210 million kwacha in 6 months. And part of the story reads Football Association of Malawi FAM has disclosed that it has generated 210 million kwacha through sales of Malawi national football team merchandise from January to June 30th this year. FAM Commercial and Marketing Director Limbani Matola confirmed the development yesterday. This is the first time that Flames replica jerseys have generated more money in 6 months.
Tema eyes Europe move. The story has a subheadline says wants to explore new challenge. Part of the story, China-based Malawi women's football star Temo Chawinga says she will not renew her contract with Super League side Mohan Jenda as she eyes a move to major European leagues to explore new challenges. The Scorchers' prolific forward said in an interview on Monday that after 4 successful seasons with the Chinese women's national champions, it was time to move.
Okay, still on local sports, the headline here is Ndobwa coach hints at recruitment strategy change. And part of the story reads, Ndobwa Super Queens coach James Sangala has said his side is contemplating changing their recruitment strategy to sign players who are big in stature. Sangala said this after his side exited the 2023 CAF Women's Champions League following 2 losses and 1 draw in 3 matches.
FDH Bank injects 5 million kwacha into master charity golf. Part of the story, FDH Bank PLC yesterday injected 5 million kwacha into the Malawi University of Science and Technology backed campus golf tournament scheduled for September 16th at Luntha Sports Club. MAST has organized the tournament to raise 250 million kwacha to support at least 50 needy students who withdrew or are at risk of withdrawing from the university due to lack of fees and upkeep.
Okay, now moving on to the last part, that's with international sports. A headline here is Spain men's players condemn Federation boss behavior, and part of the story reads that Spain's men's players have condemned the unacceptable behavior of Federation President Luis Rubiales. Rubiales, aged 46, has been widely criticized after he kissed player Jenny Hermoso on the lips following Spain's Women's World Cup final win last month. Rubiales has repeatedly refused to resign over the kiss, which Hermoso said was not consensual.
Hope come on Salah's future. Speculations over Mohamed Salah's future at Liverpool has intensified this week, but no one is calmer than the Reds manager Jurgen Klopp about the situation. Liverpool injected a £150 million bid for the Egypt international from Saudi Pro League club Al Ittihad last week, with the Reds insisting the 31-year-old is not for sale. With the transfer window in Saudi Arabia not closing until tomorrow, Liverpool are bracing themselves for more bids in the coming days.
Okay, another one here, still on football, says Manchester City, no club World Cup opponents. And part of the story reads that Manchester City will face Club Lyon or Urawa Reds in their opening match at the Club World Cup. City have qualified for the first time after winning the 2022-2023 Champions League and start their campaign in the semi-finals. Mexican side Club Lyon are the reigning CONCACAF champions, and Urawa Reds of Japan won the AFC Champions League. And that story also brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of Press Review for today, Wednesday, the 6th of September in the year 2023. And of course, we only managed to take you through some of the stories that are appearing in our newspapers. So if you want to know more details to the stories we read, and some of which we could not, do make sure to get yourself the papers, with each going at the price of 1,200 kwacha. You've been with me, Tandi Wemzmara, and my colleague. Have a lovely day.
Gone from our sight, but never from our hearts. Luntha Television has learned with great sadness about the death of a passionate and dedicated human rights and governance kingpin, Leon Matanda. Luntha Television therefore expresses condolences to Leon's family, friends and colleagues.